Take a look at this modern map of Northern Europe. If we push in along the Baltic Sea coast, we find the territory of Kaliningrad. It is an island of Russian territory, entirely disconnected from the mainland, wedged directly between Poland and Lithuania. This raises a question of how a heavily militarized, isolated slice of the Russian Federation ended up hundreds of miles from the Russian border. The answer begins with the name itself. Kaliningrad is a modern invention. For 6 centuries prior to the 1940s, this land was known as Königsberg. The modern map is the result of a systematic effort to erase the territory's previous identity and its connection to the German heartland. Originally the center of the Teutonic Order, Königsberg was the cultural soul of Prussia, the site where its first kings were crowned. By the late 19th century, it was a dominant pillar of the newly unified German Empire, serving as the home of its ruling dynasty. The first major fracture occurred in 1919. The Treaty of Versailles stripped Germany of surrounding lands, turning East Prussia into an isolated exclave. This loss of territory to the newly formed Lithuania fueled the rise of the National Socialist movement, promising to reclaim the lost lands. This regional tension set the stage for a second, more violent conflict that would physically remove the city from German maps forever. In 1945, Soviet forces advanced on the city. A brutal siege and weeks of heavy artillery bombardment left the historic center in ruins. When the city finally fell, the German population fled west, and the victorious powers prepared to redraw the borders of Europe once again. The Allied powers agreed to permanently strip Germany of the territory, dividing the former province of East Prussia among the victors. The southern portion went to Poland, the north to the Lithuanian Soviet Republic, and the center, which included the ruins of Königsberg, went directly to Stalin's Russian Soviet Republic. Stalin bypassed the neighboring Lithuanian administration, keeping the strategic military port under direct Russian control to ensure a permanent naval presence on the Baltic. Stalin ensured this Russian control was permanent through a program of widespread ethnic cleansing. Most remaining Germans were deported to East Germany, replaced by hundreds of thousands of ethnic Russians brought in to repopulate and rebuild the city. After Stalin's death, his successor, Nikita Khrushchev, actually offered to give the entire Kaliningrad region to neighboring Lithuania. Lithuanian leaders refused the offer. They recognized that absorbing such a large, culturally distinct population would cause long-term political instability within their own borders. The population replacement was so thorough that the land became a demographic trap, a piece of territory that none of its neighbors would touch. In 1991, the Soviet Union collapsed. Suddenly, the borders of Eastern Europe were open to negotiation for the first time in nearly 50 years. Despite finally achieving independence, Lithuania maintained its strict refusal to claim or incorporate the territory. Poland shared this view, showing zero interest in managing an exclave filled with ethnic Russians. That left one final candidate, a reunifying Germany, with a 600-year historical claim to the region. But the nation that birthed the territory didn't push to get it back, even when the opportunity was right in front of them. West German Chancellor Helmut Kohl prioritized the reunification of East and West Germany above all else. He was unwilling to jeopardize that process by demanding the return of lost land. Kohl knew that demanding the return of Königsberg would alarm Britain and France, who were already wary of the power of a unified German state. Furthermore, the territory was no longer German in anything but history. The people and the culture had been entirely replaced decades earlier. The new Russian Federation simply inherited the lands of the old Russian Soviet Republic, leaving the exclave exactly where it was. Kaliningrad remains a Russian outpost because Soviet demographic engineering was total. By completely replacing the people, they ensured the land became a dangerous prize no neighbor could ever afford to accept.